Hello there. Welcome back to Supernova Labs. Feeling a lot better than I did yesterday. I was feeling a bit like, do you know, when you're on the border of under the weather and just need a quick intervention just to be like, pinch that in the bud. But I've been busy. It's been managed to develop a full 5 year financial forecast for Supernova Labs over today and feeling in a lot better position than I did yesterday. I think something that has really dawned on me is the same level of urgency that I felt when I first started this, because there's been all kinds of stuff that's happened and people that I've met and situations that I've been in that, like, it kind of all piles up and it gets you like out of focus and you end up lost on why you were like doing things in the first place and what you were doing it for. And I think something that's really like come into like quite clear focus over the past couple of days is that like we are in the fight of our lives for technology development in the West at the minute, and like if we're not competing and accelerating at the same rate that everybody else is around us, then we'll end up behind by just by nature of the mathematics of it, right? It's if you're not accelerating as fast as somebody else, like they will pass you. And I don't want to let that happen because I mean, in the West, I think people my age, millennials, like and Zoomers and all this kind of thing. I think we're very aware that investments weren't made, and the stewardship of the wealth of nations was poorly managed, let's say. But I think that underpins the fact that we need to take on that mantle and build that future for ourselves instead of waiting for it to come. Which means getting out into factories, cutting metal, printing metal, building assets, and creating a challenge in power to bricks as a trading block. I mean, not like an antagonistic competitive, like a friendly competition. Like there needs to be a challenge. Otherwise, yeah, it's all over. We'll end up I mean, I think the UK is heading towards this already. We'll end up a 1950s theme park for the elderly and the less capitalised among us. They can't leave. I think people are already beginning to feel that now. Uh, I think even though there has been a betrayal from generation to generation, it's still beholden on us to build that future, as I was saying. And I don't want to. I don't want my parents to be living in a world where the money that they've saved up, they've worked hard their whole lives for it. That's going to be decreasing in value, and their assets are going to be depreciating. That's not a world that I want to live in, and I think it's yeah again beholden on us to like look out into the world where others won't, where others refuse to look. We, as a generation, need to look out into the world and find the best of what is available and bring it here. We need to go to all four corners of the world, find the best of technology, and bring it to the UK. Because it's the only way that we're going to bring the people and the capital into the country so that that doesn't happen. It's just so important. I think there are so many systems in place in the UK just to keep people blind to what's going on outside. I think the government is so insular and like inward facing and just doesn't even look at what's going on even in France or in Germany. And people don't even know what's going on. Like I think the news doesn't tell you anything about what's going on outside of the UK. So you end up just sat watching Gogglebox and sat watching like inward looking news and you never hear anything other than pre-scripted events that are designed to distract and terrorize you. So they're not hard to find. There's great places like Reddit's r/futurology that's like monitoring and keeping up to date with like the future news and what technology's out there and who's doing it, who's involved, how long it's going to take to get to market. We could be getting in there early. We could be sending emails to the founders and say, look, come over here, we'll give you 5 million to get started. Give you one of the best universities as well. And it can't be centered around Cambridge. It has to be decentralized around the whole country. Because that's the only way you get sustainable growth. Because you need inward investment, you need to take the people that are coming into this country, because what people don't understand about climate change is as the earth heats up, places around the equator become unlivable. There's no food, there's no water. So the only place they can go is north or south. And people are going north, which means they're coming here. And if we don't have a plan for how to bring people in, train them up, deploy them into an economy as working citizens, then it's all over. Because they're coming whether you like it or not. And I think that's the thing that people just don't get. They just don't get. They can't, because it's not a genie that you can put back in the bottle. The geopolitics just don't allow it. And if you try, it leads down a very dark path that Germany took during the Second World War, and we all know where that ended up. And I think, again, seems like the responsibilities of the ages are all falling on this generation. We owe it to our grandparents to make sure that doesn't happen. I believe that there's a lot of good people in this country that just don't speak up and are just quite happy getting on with their paper pushing jobs and just trying to make ends meet. And while it's okay, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. Like that is just that is a recipe for stagnation that becomes insoluble as the real assets that create value and add to an economy end up falling into disrepair. And we're seeing that across the board as well, like where like water systems are not keeping up, where the electric systems aren't keeping up, where schools, their roofs are caving in because of water damage. We've just got to get better at just fixing stuff when it happens and not waiting for permission from some central authority, because it's not coming. The UK government, I arguably, fortunately, is powerless right now, and they are suffering from a slow puncture that will kill this government before the next election. And it couldn't have come soon enough. I wish it would have happened many years ago. Sometimes you need to go through the fire to get to the gems. But yeah, I need to. If there's anything I can impart to you today, it's just have a renewed sense of urgency. Like if you're running a business, if you're at work and just doing some bullshit job, like find some way to make it economically viable and like build incredible things, right? The UK has some of the smartest people in the world that have the best capability at doing a lot with next to nothing. We can get back to a point where we can do a lot with everything, but that is not going to be achieved by sitting down and waiting for the tide to wash over you. You've got to get involved. And that's all I can say. Ultimately, the choice is yours. I do think this is pretty fundamental to get to a point where we can build space planes in this country. It's just, it takes a mindset shift towards we will be the best at space in the world. We will build faster than anyone without sacrificing human rights or good pay. And that'll be the ticket, because I think that's the biggest issue right now, like globally, is that a lot of people, a lot of dictators and far right governments, like they see the West kind of floundering right now, and the wages are kind of not keeping pace with inflation, and it's very easy for them to point to that and be like, yeah, you need to keep me in power, because look what happens when you all get a vote. And we can't afford to let that happen. Can't afford to let that happen. We need to prove that this model works. That you can have human rights and good wages too, and be globally competitive. Like, and not just globally competitive, top 3 competitive. And I mean it. I know it can be done. It just takes hard work and sitting down and properly thinking about it. And god damn it, we're good at thinking here. We can work it out. But with that, I'm going to leave you. I hope this gets you thinking. And I hope that you redouble your efforts to building something incredible with your life. I'll speak to you soon. I look forward to seeing what you build.